Emma Lawson had always believed that ghosts were nothing more than stories, created to explain fear. At 28 years old, she worked as an investigative journalist, spending her days exposing scams, myths, and fake paranormal claims. She relied on facts, evidence, and logic. Whenever someone claimed a place was haunted, Emma was the first to prove there was a perfectly ordinary explanation. One autumn evening, she received an unusual assignment. A small town called Ashbrook had an abandoned theater that locals refused to enter after sunset. For nearly 20 years, people claimed they had seen a dark shadow standing behind the old stage curtain. The figure never moved toward anyone. It simply stood there, watching silently. Those who entered the theater reported hearing whispers, feeling sudden cold air, and seeing the curtain gently sway even when there was no wind. Emma traveled to Ashbrook determined to uncover the truth. The theater looked exactly as people had described it. Dust covered every seat. Torn velvet curtains hung from rusted rails. Broken chandeliers dangled from the ceiling, and the smell of damp wood filled the building. Despite its condition, the structure was surprisingly quiet. The town's oldest resident, Mr. Harris, met Emma outside. "You can investigate all you want," he warned, "but if you see the shadow behind the curtain, don't call out to it." Emma smiled politely. "I'm here to find facts, not ghosts." As night fell, Emma placed several cameras around the stage. She also installed motion sensors, temperature monitors, and audio recorders. Every piece of equipment was designed to capture anything unusual. For the first 2 hours, nothing happened. Then, just after midnight, one of the temperature sensors suddenly dropped by nearly 10 degrees. At the same moment, every camera focused on the stage began to flicker. Emma walked toward the curtain with a flashlight. The beam revealed old wooden boards, broken ropes, and years of dust. Nothing else. She turned away. That's when she noticed something strange. On the small monitor connected to one of her cameras, there was a tall shadow standing perfectly still behind the curtain. Emma quickly looked back. The stage was empty. She looked at the monitor again. The shadow remained. Thinking it was a camera malfunction, she checked every cable and lens. Everything was working normally. She raised another flashlight toward the curtain. Still nothing. Yet, on every monitor, the dark figure continued to stand silently. Emma decided to review the theater's history. Old newspaper archives revealed that 23 years earlier, a stage technician named Daniel Brooks had died during a performance. A heavy lighting system had collapsed because the theater owners ignored repeated safety warnings. Several witnesses claimed Daniel had pushed a young actress out of danger before being crushed himself. The owners blamed it on equipment failure and quietly closed the investigation. Emma dug deeper. She found inspection reports proving the accident could have been prevented. Important repairs had been delayed to save money. The truth had been hidden. The next evening, Emma returned to the theater. This time, she stood quietly before the curtain. "I know what happened here," she said softly. The air became colder. The curtain moved slightly. Emma didn't see anyone, but one of her cameras clearly recorded the same dark figure standing behind the fabric. She continued speaking. "The people responsible were never held accountable. I'm going to publish the truth." For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the curtain slowly opened by itself. There was no shadow, only an old toolbox resting on the stage floor. Inside the rusted box were maintenance records, repair requests, and handwritten letters from Daniel. They described dangerous electrical problems and unstable lighting, equipment weeks before the accident. Every document had been ignored by management. These papers were the evidence Emma had been searching for. When her investigation was published, authorities reopened the case despite the years that had passed. The families of the victims finally received official recognition that negligence, not bad luck, had caused the tragedy. The abandoned theater was later restored and reopened as a memorial for Daniel, Brooks, and everyone who had worked there. Curious about the mysterious recordings, a team of engineers examined Emma's equipment. They discovered that damaged reflective glass, weak infrared light, and unusual camera angles inside the decaying theater could create a convincing shadow effect on digital cameras. Under certain conditions, the illusion appeared only on screens, not to the human eye. The whispers people reported were traced to wind passing through cracked ventilation shafts, creating sounds that resembled distant voices. The moving curtain was explained by hidden air currents caused by changes in temperature between the stage and the backstage area. Every mystery had a logical explanation. Almost. Emma reviewed the final recording one last time before archiving her files. For just a single frame, less than 1/24th of a second, the shadow appeared to raise its hand, as if waving goodbye. The engineers dismissed it as digital image distortion. Emma accepted their explanation. Still, whenever she remembered the silent theater and the forgotten man whose warnings had finally been heard, she couldn't help wondering whether some stories survive not because of ghosts, but because truth has a way of refusing to stay hidden forever. Sometimes the shadow behind the curtain is not a spirit at all. Sometimes it is the hidden reality that waits patiently for someone brave enough to reveal it.